No?
Nope.
I bet they do. I was right, by the way, about that flash test thing. You're not allowed.
Oh, wasn't it let me on it one day?
No, like recording it.
Oh, well, then they shouldn't put it out to the public.
Oh.
Like, literally, it should be a closed thing.
I know, I agree.
I can't log in Smite!
What's up, everybody? My name is Titan Dandy, and welcome to another Smite 2
We're kicked off of
update
Smite,
show.
by the way.
Still crazy to get to say that.
I logged out
this is
because
the
I'm
CA3
watching this.
update show, and there's a lot to talk about today. And as always, I couldn't do it alone. I'm joined by two of the greatest people that I know.
Quiet.
I know.
Alex,
They're always
hey, Jack,
quiet.
how are y'all?
Hello.
Doing okay, yeah.
Doing okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Where's Trelly, man?
obviously,
Trelly's
there's
never
a
on the
lot
patch
going
notes.
on.
I know.
To exercise my candor, it's been a rough week, but there's a lot going on, a lot of changes, and I think we wanted to start today's show by kind of talking about some of what's happened and some of what to expect in the future. So,
Oh yeah, they're
why
gonna
don't
talk
we
about it.
Pass it to Alex and let him go over some stuff.
Yeah. I think, if you're watching the update show, you probably have been following along with what's been going on this week, and it's been a tough week, right?
Looks like he's about to cry.
It's been really hard for everybody here.
Well, yeah, it's fucking
we've
sad,
seen
man.
some
People that live there.
people-
Why are you making fun of him? Look at this pussy, he's crying. Jesus, the poor guy. He's worked with these people for
But
10 years.
I don't want to spend too
You know
much
what's
time.
worse? My stream you can't hear you, so
focusing
I think I'm just...
on the past. I think that there's a lot of good stuff to look forward to that I want to share with people today.
Yeah.
The one thing that I really want to say to the community, if you're watching, thank you to those of you that there was kind of an outpouring of support for the people affected, and I think we all really appreciate that. Both the people that were affected and those of us that are still here, coming to work every day to do everything we can to make Smite 2 amazing because we love this game, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I really want to talk about where we're going with Smite 2. And
there's a lot of change on the way.
there's a lot of change on the way, and I know that when something like this happens, there's a lot of concern about who's even still there, are there enough people to keep working on the game?
Yeah.
We have, I think, a very aggressive, very good schedule that will hopefully address a lot of your concerns. So,
Hopefully, yeah.
so I'm gonna go through that now, and I apologize. I'm looking now because I have my notes on my phone just to make sure that I don't forget to say anything because
Of course, yeah.
I am a little bit scatterbrained today. Okay, so the first thing, we've been spending since early closed alpha,
Yeah.
or we've been reading all of your posts, we've been listening to all of your feedback,
talk
we've
real
been
quick?
watching your streams and everything.
Hmm?
And I
Okay,
think
I fixed it.
what we've gathered
Nice.
is that given the state of the game right now, there's kind of 4 key issues facing Smite 2. There's not enough content. Specifically, there are not enough gods.
I hear that one a lot, yeah.
There's not enough quality, right? Ranging from some core gameplay feel issues to specific bugs to matchmaking is one that comes up a lot,
Yeah.
right? Number 3 is that we're not moving fast enough to address these things, and you don't feel like the game's improving quickly enough. And number 4 is that we're not talking to you enough about the things that we are doing to improve the game and making you feel and believe that we are addressing these things. So today I want to talk
5
about
key
those
issues.
4
So the
issues
fifth
and
one
how
is
we're addressing
Rexsi.
those. But first I want to kind of talk about the core issue that led us to this in the first place. To sound like a broken record, Smite 2 is an alpha. We've said very publicly, this game is an alpha. There's an alpha tag on the thing, and we've expected you as the players to treat it like an alpha, but I'm not
take it
sure that
off.
we as a dev team have treated it enough like an alpha from our dev calendar perspective.
Somebody tell me shut up.
We're a team that spent a decade running a tightly tuned ship where I would know today what's going to ship a year from now.
Yeah.
And it's all about very precise plans of exactly what you're going to do and how you're going to deliver on a timeline. And I think, though, we kind of tried to we'll be more dynamic and we'll be more flexible and we'll listen to the community, and you've seen some examples of doing that. I don't think we've gone enough in that way. I think we've been a little bit stuck in the old ways of the way we were running the game.
I could agree.
This is going to sound probably pretty silly to everybody listening, but we had a really big conversation before we went into closed alpha, where
not now.
for years and years, Smite 1 has been on an every 4-week patch cycle.
Oh yeah, years.
Yeah, and we were like, cool. And we're like, you know what? I think we could get to 3. I think that's so much faster. The players are going to love it if we patch every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And now that we've been doing it for a little while, we're like, that's ridiculous. Like, we can't do that. We can't keep patching every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So, I think generally we know we need to move faster with more urgency. We need to communicate more. And going forward, we're going to be much more open about like what we're working on, and how we're addressing things and whatnot. But the one thing I want to say is that before I launch into everything else is that because we're being more open, because we're telling you more about like our early plans, I ask that you give us a little bit of grace if things change, because the further something out is, the more likely it is to change. But we want to start sharing things with you earlier so we can get your feedback and whatnot. But things will change. But the promise for me following up on that is that we're going to communicate better when things do change. So it's not like we're saying, here's the roadmap and it's immutable and this is exactly what we're going to do going forward.
Yeah.
It's, here's the direction we want to move in. Do you guys agree with us? Cool, then we're going to go in that direction. If you don't, then we'll modify from there. So what exactly is changing? With enough preamble, because I can ramble for forever.
Yeah, let's get into the meat.
Okay, so there's not enough content. We have recently reworked our schedule.
Pretty majorly, yeah.
Pretty majorly, with the aim of, currently there are 25 games, or 25 gods in Smite 2.
Yeah.
Our goal is to effectively double that roster by January. So we're hoping to get to around 50 gods by January. And there are a lot of kind of the heavy hitter gods that you've told us should be there from the start on that list, like Ra and Poseidon and Thor and Khepri and yada yada, right?
Yeah.
Keep going!
And so our entire dev content team has been pivoted to working on gods. A lot of our programming and design teams have been pivoted to working on how do we make this happen. So we're going to be moving a lot faster to get more gods into the game. I want to give the little disclaimer that even though we're being more nimble, we can't just flip on a switch overnight, right? So, and things have to go through the pipe at different phases before we can get them into the game. So this update, there are 2 gods in it. There are Baron Samedi and Yemoja.
Yep.
So we're going to be showing you those in a minute. And then the next update will also have 2 gods. And then after
not a
that,
fan of
one
is when you'll start
Yemoja.
seeing a faster pace
Baron.
of gods coming out.
I love Baron.
Once we get to 50 or so, we're probably going to slow back down to like 2 or 3 every 3 weeks. Is kind of a rough cadence for you guys to keep in mind.
Slow down. They're
just
on a full
because we'll
sprint.
be at a point where we want to do some gods that are more technically or artistically difficult for us, and we just won't be able to keep moving at that pace.
Yeah.
I would love it if we could just get all the gods done in 6 months. That'd be great. But that's not feasible once we get through this initial push to 50.
They accidentally
but our goal
spoiled
is
that
to
Baron's
double
the next
god
one.
roster
There was
to 50
Baron's
by
Brew in the
January.
shop in the last patch notes.
And January is an important month to us, just kind of as a little bit of context, because we kind of always see January as a new season moment for Smite and Smite 2, and a time when we ship bigger changes to, shake up Conquest and, all that kind of stuff. And there's some other bigger systems that we're kind of planning for January right now. That
Hey, they announced
we're going to
it.
be more open about stuff, but I don't
Chat.
want to go into every.
After this is done, chat, the update's going to be live immediately.
We're trying to make sure the game is in a really good spot for that. The other note I have on the gods that we have in the game right now is that we have 25 gods in the game right now, but a lot of our data is showing us that you're seeing the same
I'm
10
gonna go heat up
gods in
my-
every game, or 12 gods. There's about half the roster is really being played right now, and that's making the problem of not enough gods feel worse than it even is. So we need to do a better job of balancing and being responsive on balancing, and I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. There's obviously a lot of other features that we need to get done by January, and I'm not going to go into all those as well right now. We're going to talk more about that stuff later. But I just want to specifically talk about gods because that is a core issue with the community that we are actively working to address. Okay, number 2, there's not enough quality. So we are, in addition to doing all these gods, we're focusing more on the quality of the game. We currently have 3 or 4 programmers, depending on the week, dedicated specifically to improving the core game quality going forward, fixing bugs and core feels issues, not adding new features. We also have a separate engineer who started this week, dedicated solely to improving the matchmaking algorithm and whatnot.
Nice.
So we should be seeing matchmaking improvements, not
Yes,
when
sir.
CA3 launches, which I'm going to talk about that in a second, but during the CA3 update, we should see especially ranked matchmaking updates that take into account SR as a matchmaking factor. The last thing I want to say specifically on quality, and I know it's kind of a light one, but it's hard to go into too much detail in that, other than we understand it's an issue and we're fixing it. Specifically on gameplay feels things. There's a lot of kind of these recurring things that we hear from the community about, like basic attacks don't feel good, or hitting certain abilities doesn't feel satisfying, right? And we want to hear more of that feedback about what's not good about the core game in your experience. And we would love to get as specific of feedback as we can from you about, like, is this something that you're experiencing only on specific gods? Is this something that you're experiencing more on higher ping or low frame rates? Is this something that you're always experiencing? But it is one of our core goals to make sure that Smite 2 feels like amazing and buttery smooth, and there's nothing that you can look back at and say, this is just worse than Smite 1, right? It has to be better, at least as good, and hopefully better in every way. So please, as much direct feedback you can give us, even if it's it's not playing the just recently we realized it's not playing a certain death animation for minions. Right now, every minion when they die has the same death animation, and there are several different death animations that play in Smite 1, so it makes it more satisfying to kill a wave of minions. And that's not updated in CA3, that's just something we noticed yesterday. Yeah. But any little observation like that you have of something that it's just not as good, it doesn't feel as good because of this reason, please tell us. We want to hear that, because we notice a lot of these things, and a lot of them are on our list already, but don't assume that we know everything, because I believe we will build a better game working together.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those things where you pull from the pros or from the people who have played for 5 years, the type of thing that you might not be able to think of off the top of your head, but you say, I've played on her for 300 hours, and I just know from gut feeling that when I auto attack, something isn't right. And you might not even be able to fully explain what it is, but just saying, hey, I've played a ton of On-Her, something about his auto attack does not feel
On
right.
her auto attacks do feel very bad.
That's a great area where we lean on you longtime Smite fans.
Definitely.
Anyway, yeah.
Cool. Point number 3 is that we're not moving fast enough, right? We're going to be moving faster. I think especially in an alpha, it sucks to think that you are going to be playing with the same broken balance and the same bugs for 3 weeks until we can patch again.
Yeah.
So we're currently in the process of we've built / we're currently building a new kind of sub team of the team, specifically focused on live patches, and we're expecting that several times a week. I don't want to commit to exactly how much, but several times a week, we're going to be patching the game to fix, to do some changes to balance and to address some bugs.
Yeah.
These updates will not be as large as
My penis.
what we're now calling major updates, which will still happen every 3 weeks, and those are the things that'll have new gods, and they'll have new new modes when we get to those, big new systems. Because just from a development standpoint, it's better for us to be building those on kind of a separate version of the game, so that kind of the in development stuff doesn't get into live and break things in live. But we do want to be shipping very regular balance and bug fixes, so people aren't waiting for the game to get better in the same way they have been recently. I'll say some of those will be coming in the form of server updates, so you won't necessarily need to download anything even to get these, but we are going to communicate better about when these come out and what has been fixed, and hopefully you'll be able to see the game getting better as we address balance and bugs during the course of a major update. Cool. Yeah, we just want to be showing you that we're constantly improving, and that we're moving better. Yeah. And I think as a very early example of us being willing to move a little bit faster on things and not be stuck in this cadence that we were before, If you've tried to log into Smite 2 right now, you might notice that the servers are down. The servers are down because we are going to be releasing CA3 as soon as this show is over. So we want you guys to start playing now so we can get feedback now, so we can start making it better now. And if there are things that we need to patch, or if there's
your
bad
game
bugs, or if the
sucks.
balance is bad or something, well, we'll try and get to that.
I mean, that
tomorrow.
is smart,
If we
'cause,
don't
like,
get
what's
to
the
it tomorrow,
point
we
of
get to it on
having
Monday,
a
right? Like,
PTS
we're
for the
gonna
alpha?
be patching very regularly to address these issues as they come up. So hopefully you guys are excited, and you are going to have fun playing CA3 later today. Okay, last thing from my really overly long preamble. I'm sorry, I'm talking way too long, which is kind of amusing because my next point is that we're not talking to you enough. Sorry, that was totally unplanned. So in a alpha period like this, it's really important that it's not just enough that we're working on all these things behind the scenes and we're fixing them and we have a plan and yada, yada, yada. We need to be more actively engaged with you, the community, because you're the whole reason why we're making this game. I mean, I enjoy playing Smite myself, but so I'm personing it for myself, I guess, but mostly it's
the community. There's
right?
like fucking
and
some people that will run around.
So Isaiah and I are going to be starting a new
Rexi,
show.
if you squint your
3
eyes
times
a little,
week, Monday, Wednesday,
does he
Friday.
kind of look like DM Brandon?
I think at 2 p.m. I don't remember what
If you had a
time
little more
now.
hair on
Write it
top,
down.
I could see it.
I'm sure we'll tweet about it. But
I can't get it out
Isaiah
of
and
my
I are
head
gonna do
now.
a show about an hour long, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, specifically just to talk about like community issues,
Weird.
what we're seeing, except for 1 o'clock, says the person in my ear.
We're gonna see him in a
to
grocery
take
store
feedback,
next.
to address your questions, to talk about major issues in the community, and also to bring on other devs and show and tell the things they're working on, right? So, we've said that we're working on a new Joust map, right? Like we might have our environment folks on just show off the current state of it and get your guys' thoughts on like, hey, are we on the right path, right? A lot of people want to know more about matchmaking. Like Max will be on one of the shows to talk about matchmaking. Ben, our art director, has said, dude, I'd love to be on the show and show off some of the models that we're working on for the upcoming gods, right? So we just want to be more active and more engaged with you because we're not doing a good enough job right now, right? Like I think back to the early days of Smite 1 Alpha when, when I was just a player, I didn't work here, right? And I would watch like Bart and Kelly, stream, and Erez would like walk into the room and, wreak havoc. Hopefully that won't be happening, but regardless, I think that there's something that we're missing about this kind of like very regularly connection with the players, just like reading Twitch chat and talking.
I hope the first thing that
we're going to be doing that 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I think you named the show Titan Talk. I don't know. We're still working
That
on
would
it.
be a fucking plot twist.
But yeah, so
Fenrir
that's
was
just part of us being
underperforming.
better communicators, and hopefully you'll see us more communicative everywhere. And yeah, we're really excited about the future. Hopefully you guys are excited about it. Just to summarize things that I just talked about, we're going to be trying to ship 50 gods by January, which is twice what we have right now. We're focusing more on quality. We have more developers focused just on fixing the quality and not working on new features, including matchmaking and bugs and whatnot. We're going to be doing more regular updates. So we'll still be doing the major updates every 3 weeks with new gods and whatnot. But then between updates, we'll have very regular patches with balance and bug fixing. And last, we're going to be doing this not update show, this kind of just like sit and talk with the dev show 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, with myself and Isaiah and guests who are more interesting than me. And that's enough of a preamble because we have a lot of exciting things to talk about before you can play CA3 in just a few minutes here.
Literally today.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
No, that was very good. And yeah, no need to keep going on that. I think he said everything. There's a lot that's been going on. I think I usually don't like to do this, but I feel confident I speak for everybody here at the studio when I say that this week has weighed heavy on our minds and will continue to for a while. But if there's one thing that I know for sure that I still see every day and I still see talking to people in the hallway and everything, it's that we just effing love Smite. I had to stop myself. I almost said a bad word. We love Smite so much. It is incredible. And our primary goal is to just make Smite 2 the best thing that Smite has ever been, and we're going to do that with y'all, and it's going to be incredible. So we're starting right now. What's that?
I just looked at chat
Yeah.
and they said we should name the show Smite Tua, which is
Oh,
awful.
bro.
And we're not gonna do that. That
No,
just
not
made me
Smite
crack up,
Tua.
so,
You did not
very
say
good.
Mods,
that.
put that person in the femur snapper, please. All right, so we have
femur
CA3 coming out today because
The
we wanted to
femur
move faster,
snapper.
and that was the first step, was to just, who
Do
needs
they
next
have one of
Tuesday?
those
Let's just do it
high-res?
today. So let's talk about some of what y'all can expect literally later today at the end of the show in CA3, starting with some Conquest. So we got AJ back there driving the computer. What's changing in Conquest, AJ?
All right, so first thing we've got in Conquest is updated objective, the Warhorn.
The Warhorn.
So the Warhorn is being updated to
Yes, sir.
woohoo the Warhorn, because
Woohoo the
rip the
Warhorn.
Warhorn.
Yeah, that's the exciting part.
Warhorn is being updated to have the Totem of Coup
The totem.
instead.
Yes.
People like the totem. I like
So there's some extra rules
Totem.
here about the Totem. It's stuff that any Smite fan should be familiar with. I'm not going to read over all of it. I
Yeah.
think the important note is that additionally, the Totem will also spawn the Warhorn champion minions. So let's look at it. Here's
Oh,
the Totem.
jeez.
It's back. As you attack it, it will fill up. You can see my
It's
blue
dropping
side
bones.
is fill up. Yeah, the bone.
The bones are a little
The
excessive
bone
right now.
particle effects are a little excessive.
We need
but
more bones.
Who doesn't like some excessive boning? on,
Whoa, what are their
ordered my
Kyras
Wow.
are freaks today. What's happening?
Yeah, I think we heard people say that like they liked fighting over the totem in the solo lane from Smite
Boner
1.
alert.
And,
Whoa.
I think it was
That's
a more
cool.
interesting
What?
objective than
You take less
the
damage from
Warhorn
gods
that we had
outside of it.
previously. This is not to say that we are not going to experiment with new things, that we just care about bringing over things from Smite 1. But I think we ran the experiment of the Warhorn and people said, hey, let's play with the totem for a while. And if you guys play with the totem for a patch or two and you don't like it, then we'll try something else, right? That's the point of being in an alpha. This is an experimentative phase of the game.
Yeah, so this is something we know people have been asking for, but also we're making
Yes, come
these
on.
modular pieces, right, that we can use in the game in a
map
variety
looks
of
different
ways.
already.
So, yeah, expecting some interesting feedback from the
Yeah, there's a couple
solo laners and
visual
the
stuff
Totem being now the way
Yeah.
you
they
capture the
showed in the
Warhorn.
last
they
one that
change
weren't
the-
live.
It's not just the totem.
Did they
You're
change the
using a totem
oracles,
style
or is that just an icon
objective
for it?
to capture the totem?
Because they changed
Or
the
to
icon for
capture
the gold
Warhorn.
minion too.
Nice.
We've got some jungle buff updates. Let's see. We got all the patch notes here, and we're going to look over it, but I'm
Screw
not going to
jungle.
read
CA4.
everything. I know some people on Twitter
CA4
wish
as
I
well,
would read
probably.
everything. I won't read everything.
So
Dandy says go to live patch notes on smite2.com/news now.
Yeah. And I think this is, another thing that we're doing differently, right? Is that like, we're just scrolling through the patch notes and talking through them with you guys. This is less of a produced show. Maybe, obviously we still have our amazing production team who's, running the show, but, we're trying to be a little bit less formal than we have been in the past. And we're just like, hey, we're talking through this stuff with you guys. And let's look at it together. Right.
So what this section essentially says is purple buff is now going to be a little bit more of a carry buff. It's getting longer duration for the buff. It's going to no longer do this like stacking effect that did big damage to objectives. Instead going to have life steal and then more life steal. So it's a little bit more fitting for hunters carries to pick this up.
Good old purple belt.
We've got another really big new feature here. So if we're speaking of something new,
Yes.
the totem being something from
Oh,
Smite 1,
yeah.
so that's
Word.
very,
Something new.
something
What?
new.
Borrowed.
It's a base teleporters.
So let's just go ahead and take
Yeah.
a look at them.
That's not it. That's just backing.
Yeah,
We've
this
had that
is just
forever.
returning.
Yeah, this is how you return.
I remember
to
this. Whoa.
But yeah, so you can see you also
Oh,
get a preview
no.
of some of our new player experience features, like telling me how to get to my lane. But here we have base teleport, and look, they let you see windows into the
kinda
lane.
cool.
Yeah, these are
this-
static images. They don't update
I was about to
dynamically
say,
of
that's OP as
what's
fuck. You
going
just
on in the
run
lane.
around
So
and
it's not
just,
full,
like,
window
peek in to see
but,
where it
does,
is.
kind of give you an idea of where you're going to end up.
What if we put your wiener through it? Does it come through the other
You'll be able
side?
to activate these with the interact button. So when you walk into space, see the space bar, press the space bar, and whoo, and this will fly you all the way to your tower,
is he
or you can
getting
right
2
click to
gold a
cancel
second?
early.
Oh, that's
You
cool.
want to go to
At least it's not instant.
So these have a long cooldown.
Yes,
a very
that's,
long cooldown.
that is the most important part about this. Is that
Okay,
it's not
good. I was
like
about to say, if
you
they can
can
do it
just go back to
consistently.
base and use this to get out every 5 seconds or something, right? Like it's not like arena where you're running back to base all the time to heal, right? This is. So far in our internal dev test, there's actually been some really interesting like strategy
If they
that's
do
popped up
that,
about
you
like
shouldn't be able to
when
teleport on
you
the
use
sides
this,
if you do
when
that.
you hold this, like do you actually use this where you like back to base and then you use it to get to a fight that's happening in the other lane rather than running across? Like there's some interesting things that can happen here, and we're interested to see how it goes. But yeah, sorry AJ, go for it.
It's got a really long cooldown. Yeah, a really long cooldown, right? So it's effectively like, more like a teleport relic. It's not like a thing to come back with all the time. And there is a lot of unique strategic choices you can make with it, like being really heads up about what's going on in the map and specifically choosing not to use it so you can save it for a quick back later is probably one of the immediate skill ceiling effects it adds. Like people who just use it on cooldown, when they get forced back, are then going to be really slow. Whereas if you can really pay attention to what's on the map, notice you're not going to lose any clear, or lose any camps, or miss a fight. You can
whatever kind of bugs are going to come with that when you're like in that state.
Normally, and then use this the next time if you get poked out. Recall, hit that. You know, I've had a lot of fun with it from playing solo lane, recall to mid lane, go up the mid lane portal, boom, I'm in the fight really quick.
Yeah.
Even though I don't have any sort of teleport effect. So yeah, it's something really interesting and new, and we're excited about it, but of course we'll adjust it as we go.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the big things, right? Like this is an all new feature. We're excited, but let's see how it goes, right? We want to see how it goes in live, and if the cooldown's too short, if it moves too fast getting out of base.
Currently at 210 seconds, so a relic level cooldown.
Yeah, and you know, and if that's still not long enough, we can make it longer, right? Or like I said, if the movement speed of your character while you're teleporting is too fast, we could slow that down, right? There's things that we can do to balance it, but tell us how it feels, right? Because what we've found is, you know, it's it feels nice to be able to move around the
fire minion stuff.
The world a little bit quicker.
Twice the gold, damn.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
You
not
gotta be
like
careful taking Phoenixes.
I know,
You
might
gotta
not even
fly
be
around the
worth.
map.
Holy shit.
but it gives you a little bit more mobility around the map, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah,
That's
pressure on an
terrible.
objective, jumping back to lane, figure out how to use it best, and it'll help you a lot.
So we got a bunch more stuff here. That's going to be a couple of more interesting mechanics and just some balance. So we have some late game comeback mechanics here with fire minions getting you additional gold, and phoenixes. If you successfully defend your phoenix enough for it to respawn, you'll get some gold return. So a lot of people, when they feel like once you've lost one phoenix, the game's just like over.
Yeah.
So we have some late game anti-snowball, which is kind of a unique thing we've never really tried before, and we're excited to see how that feels. It's a pretty common thing to do in MOBAs, by the way, in general.
They fixed the Titan healing.
We have some other just tower adjustments here. So Minotaurs are going to do significantly less damage to towers, so they won't be so you know, if you push one Minotaur into a tower with some minions to defend it, it'll kill the tower or take a significant amount of
I think those cows were better at pushing towers than some of my teammates, man. Like they just
probably.
It's ridiculous.
And this did come specifically from ambassadors and playtesters. This feedback point. We've adjusted the Titans to properly regenerate their health, just like they did in Smite 1. Just as we're rebuilding everything, so some stuff, you know, gets prioritized a little bit slower. And so people were calling out that this wasn't the same as Smite 1. Now it's in. We've got some big changes here to the Ancient Fury.
Okay.
This is no longer going to apply to all structures. It will only choose the frontmost structure in each lane.
Sir.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, this objective being just a little bit too all in, now it's more specifically lets you get that bonus each lane. And it's also, instead of it's going to be completely disabled, they're just going to be heavily weakened. Okay. So yeah, taking quite a bit of like instant game overness out of the Ancient Fury. Still going to be really
good,
meaningful.
Yeah,
but before it was like potentially just way too over the top end game situation, potentially overshadowing Fire Giant. Fire Giant
look at the killing spree
removed
timer.
the protections rewards from the Fire Giant buff. This was just overwhelmingly common pro feedback. This is one of those things where, you know, maybe if you're a casual player, you're like, oh, I get a little bit harder to kill and I deal more damage. That seems fine. But the way the protections work in Smite and granting squishy DPS players any amount of protections is really, really high efficiency for them. So it's just really, really strong.
Yeah.
Essentially makes it impossible to trade against squishy versus squishy when one of them has the Fire Giant buff. So removing that. We have adjusted the kill spree timer, and this will also affect the multi-kill timer, so pentakills will be easier to get now.
And
this is more accurate to match Smite 1.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Not easier than Smite 1, just easier than it is in Smite 2. Because like
it was too hard. It was harder than intended in Smite 2.
Because like in Smite 1, like there's kind of this muscle memory where you expect like, oh, I should have gotten a double kill there, and you weren't getting it in Smite 2, and now it should match much better.
So then we have we're going to talk about some of the other new player features, but one of them that we just have right here, which you can see.
No, because you did it, so it's done for the opening bit.
No, but there's other versions of this. So they're these. So blue camp, red camp, this stuff. This wasn't here before. You can still turn these on with options, but that stuff wasn't here before.
Thank God they're telling me where blue camp is.
That was you know, it's a surprisingly useful new player feature in Smite 1. So we're glad we got some of those in there.
Does it
there's
tell you
probably
if there's
some more
enemies
that
in
we
there?
need, but it's a good first step, right?
Yeah.
And then, do we have a separate section to talk about the pathing out of base
Multi
for
potions.
new players? Or is
I
that...
think so. There's a whole new player section at the bottom.
I'll be quiet then. Thanks.
Arena. So I'm probably not going to load into Arena right now, but
Wait, those are
just a
broken.
couple of important things. Color and lighting pass, another iteration in Arena, as we're still trying to get that feel for the whole game, and the Arena is a good place to test that. So I've already heard really good feedback about this from the flash tests, and that it's a continual improvement, and we're still making more
They fixed the potion.
more improvements. So if this goes well, this will be applied to other maps, and this also affects
yeah,
the
so
way
it
the
is a lot
characters
of-
light, the shadows, the reflections, things like that. So it's a big change.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for it.
And I think I think we were experimenting to try and get the right level of like Smite 1 is a well-lit game that is relatively bright where you can see what's going on all the time with relatively vibrant colors. But what is the right level of all of those dials for Smite 2? Even if were at one point we did just copy all those things exactly from Smite 1, it still didn't feel right. So it's like, how do we tweak things and make them all match up? Because the lighting works differently and the materials work differently in UE5. So let us know what you think.
So we're actually fixing a bug where Arena Jungle Buff spawned too late, and we're made some adjustments to the way tickets work to make it more like Smite 1.
Yeah.
All right, now let's getting into the core items section of the patch. So we're
New
adding
items,
a new
maybe?
consumable, the multi potion, and this will allow you to stack that with the healing potion, so you get two different forms of healing running simultaneously. So this has always been a big method of outplay potential in the solo lane, really timing those fairly carefully. That's especially in the solo lane, but it can also be effective in early arena and other things like that. So that's exciting.
Nice.
We've also done some health potion and health chalice adjustments. So we call this an adjustment, but it's really a nerf. There's just a very slight buff. It's a much
Tiny
slower
little
regen now, from 10 seconds to 14 seconds. So I guess not much slower. We're not going all the way back to the full 25 seconds, I think it is in Smite 1, which is really slow.
Yeah.
But we
I wish
like
you
this
could
being
see
a little bit more
the
dynamic
ratio
and
for
impactful.
cooldown.
But just slowing it down a little bit, and in order to get the numbers to even out, you have to pick a round number.
Definitely need
you
to
got 210.
Yeah.
Figure something out.
Mana regen. It also had a similar adjustment.
Yeah.
And we also fixed an issue where multiple potions applying could create some unintended, you'd actually get more healing than you're supposed to heal. Yeah. So that's been fixed.
And play around with it, right? Like as AJ noted, it is still different than Smite 1. We're liking how it feels in our playtests. I think we kind of agreed in our internal playtest too that it was too strong. But we feel like this is a good level now. Again, we can balance everything going forward, right? So let us know what you think.
Yeah, more rapidly too.
Yeah, I was talking to the design team and I said, if there's something really obvious that we talk about today that people don't like, that's a balance number, let's fix it tomorrow, right? Like, that's the attitude. I don't know if we can actually do that. Maybe Monday, but that's the attitude.
Yes,
coming with.
But
Okay.
not 3 weeks from now.
Yeah,
Right, definitely not 3 weeks or even a week, 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Right? All right, so items in general. So one of the first things we're looking at is CDR as a whole. So cooldown rate in Smite is Smite 2 is a little weaker than CDR % in Smite 1. And a lot of people felt like the CDR numbers were just a little bit weak, and CDR items and CDR builds were not doing nearly as well as just full strength into pen builds. So what we've done is we adjusted something on the back end we call the efficiency of a stat. So that means every item with CDR on it is going to get more CDR or cheaper or more of the other stats. In many of the cases, we chose to buff the CDR directly because we want people to feel the impacts of that CDR more because of the CDR rate to % conversion. But there's a couple that were adjusted in other ways. And there was potentially some due to balance issues might have needed to become more expensive to balance out their buffs. But I'm not going to read over all these, but you can see this is a full list
Oh
of
my
all
God.
of them.
So everything.
Oh
Most
my
of the
God.
items are CDR only. Some of these items have additional balance elsewhere, but we listed out everything here in the CDR section anyway.
Ooh, more physical prots on
Breastplate of Valor is one of the ones I wanted to call out specifically. That is going to be higher CDR, higher prots, and
That's
cheaper.
nice.
So they're smaller. It's a bigger CDR buff, but small prots and very small.
there's some
gold
nerf.
change, but that's still
No.
a significant amount of item efficiency overall.
Yeah.
A couple notes we had here was Leviathan's Hide, Talisman of Purification, Gem of Focus, Tekko did not receive CDR buffs already because they're already overperforming. In fact, Gem and Tekko are going to get additional nerfs here soon.
Tapping at 500 damage.
Yeah, first thing is CDR. Moving into the different categories of items,
Oh,
first off, we got
no.
Sunder. or a Sundering Arc as the Smite 2 Sunder.
You think only like one person on the team should be allowed to get Sunder?
Sunder. But yeah, pretty big nerf here. Yeah. We had quite a bit of pro level feedback that this was deciding games.
Pro level feedback.
Right?
When they ask me,
1,000 damage means you're essentially going to outcompete even full Con Ultimate.
Holy fuck!
Will be hard to press to confirm Sunder. We still think it's a fun relic as a whole, but we're trying to get the right tuning here, so it's going to come down quite a bit. It's now going to cap at 500 damage instead of 1,000, and at level 14 instead of 10.
Level 14.
So it's going to be ramping up in damage slower, and it's going to be
Elion victimized. Someone just said
I think it's still good. I think you probably still want one on a team, but I don't think it's going to decide the game in every game anymore, which is really the goal.
Yeah, we've moved it more
Man,
to
stop.
Dagger
Why
Frenzy
that
from
extra
50
skill of
to
knowing
30.
exactly when to execute with it compared to just
So
throw it,
never
you'll get it
trade
away.
into
I
Holy
love, like,
shit! That's
stealing
people are
jungle
still
buffs
buying
or,
that right now.
and stealing objectives and stuff. So
50
like,
still feels too
as a
low.
support, like
Jesus.
just
No,
30
they
cents under
are
and going.
just-
I will be
into
building
like
it
a
every
fun for me.
game.
So I think you can still do that. You're not going to do it as well as you used to be able to. It's not going to just be kind of OP, but it should still feel fun.
That's a good point about Sunder. So in addition, we have we had a lot of feedback that thought we kind of overdid it on tank and carry DPS versus protection shifts last patch. So we're kind of reverting a little bit of both of those to kind of walk it back a bit. So we are doing some carry buffs and some tank nerfs to undo those. We don't want to overdo this again, right? So there's very specific ones that we think we have good data and feedback towards increasing. And on the Smite talk show, we might get into more detail of the balance numbers and some things.
Yeah, that Dagger Frenzy buff is cracked.
Don't go into all the detail here.
Yeah.
But
That's
on Smite
ridiculous.
2, we'll have the time to do that.
Literally, you
so
use
first
it,
up is Kins.
back and come back. It's
this
already
is
up
a pretty
again.
important buff. It looks like 1%, right? But that's actually a 25% increase.
That's real good.
Or a 33% off, right, from the 3% up to 4. To help counter tanks and make sure this does more powerful. We're really trying to make sure the non-crit build path is more viable for carries here. So Bragi's Harp, one of the primary hybrid and
Item
just
still sucks.
proc damage.
I don't think anything is
based
any
on
of this is going to
scaling.
affect crit. Crit is just
Death
too
Metal
good.
is a crit item, but it's also an in-scaling hybrid item. This one was
know
just
that.
pretty underwhelming in a variety of ways, so it's getting a nice strength buff.
What do you mean?
And
It
Dagger
crit is literally the
Frenzy,
metal on every
actually
ADC.
fell off really hard in the stats. It was one of the lowest
The build I do
performing,
on her hits so
active
hard,
items in the game.
and it doesn't crit.
So
It hits for like
what we thought
500.
would be really fun and we want to test a little bit more is shorter cooldown on active items.
Didn't ask.
So now Dagger has a much shorter cooldown and you can continue to use this more frequently as opposed to having to prioritize. It's going to be weaker than it was
You can update
nerfed
your
a patch or
client, by
two
the
ago.
way.
It was really strong for a bit. So it's going to stay in that slightly lower
just
stats,
did.
but it's going to be up a lot more often. So you can really make plays with it in a lot more situations.
That sounds fun.
So tank nerfs, Spirit Robe was the obvious standout here. We had tons of pro feedback and ambassador feedback about this, as well as high data. It's just giving an absurd amount of stats.
A little bit good.
So bringing down the
90
procs on the base and the proc.
wasn't that bad.
It still doesn't have a cooldown, which it did on Smite once. You can, if you're getting CC chained, you're going to continue to get this
still
effect
strong as shit.
refreshed, which is really nice. So it's a little
took,
more
what,
consistent.
30
We've had
away
positive
from
responses to that, but the
total?
general stat effect was just too
Overall,
much.
yeah.
Overwhelming.
Oni's was another one that was really overperforming in data
Dino
and
goes,
feedback.
"Honor
So
build
we got
does
some
indeed fuck."
cost increase and prot decrease.
Mhm.
Eye of Providence,
Dino.
maybe this is a little bit more pro skewed only one. This is really powerful though. That vision, getting those sentry wards on cooldown repeatedly. So just taking the stats down a little bit here. We then have some meta nerfs. So these are just items that are overperforming in general. Staff of Cosmic Horror, pretty much in every int build in the game. You're now going to have to build more int in order to get the passive threshold, and you're just going to get
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you could build it like
passive
second item and
CBR
almost get the
when you do
passive.
it. This one just really
Still
strong
can
stats.
pretty
And then
much on
Techo and
some
Gem,
people.
pretty much some of the most
like
ubiquitous
Cuckoo.
items in the game as well.
Cuckoo wings.
Potentially even showing up on non-DPS characters and
Techo's really
tanks, and
good.
even showing up to both items on the same god at the same time. So getting
I build Techo and solo a lot. Like it's just real
It
good.
can go.
these items are very strong for sure. So we're getting nerfs there. All right, well, now we have a long list of kind of the underperforming buffs. So for starters, we felt like Warrior's Axe, Sundering Axe were really being outcompeted by Bluestone, even after Bluestone's nerf. So we're getting some base protections and damage proc buffs on the starter, and the protection stats and the heal trigger on the upgrade. Sands of Time, we got increased intelligence and cooldown. So this is a big one here.
That is big, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So this was
insulting that they
already a
gave
cooldown
cooldown
buff
Shoguns, yet they
update,
took it
right?
off
So
in
we were
Smite
doing
1.
that, and then also trying to just make this compete a
hate
little
that.
bit more. So now, if you're a mid laner or an int,
attacked.
you're going to choose between really the cooldown
Oh,
item or the
they
burst damage
changed Eye
item,
of the
right?
Storm.
So
Thank God.
before the conduit gem was just really outperforming.
Like that's really good for like new.
I put this in the balance
2.5
section just
per
because it's
second.
Really impactful.
Oh god, the
on
bug
play
stuff is
styles,
still
but it
in
really
there.
should be in the bug fix section, which whatever. But prophetic cloak, we did fix that issue where the item would go on cooldown even when you were getting a trigger for a stack that was already completed, so you wouldn't actually get a stack. It would go on cooldown. If you have 15 fizz stacks and 10 magical, and you get a fizz hit, it would go on cooldown and you would get nothing. So that's been fixed. We got a slight buff on Shoguns for the protections. Eye of the Storm, which was the new item, not really new, reworked item from last update, was just way too much being sacrificed for the effect. So we're getting just a kind of omni buff on this one, like all across the
That
board.
chalk that built the
HP,
first item just
protections,
would use it
protections,
and
and the
stun
self damage a little bit less. So really exciting to see if you see more of this.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Pridwin,
Well,
cost
Embracer might be
decrease.
good now.
This was another ambassadors and pros level feedback change. This was prohibitively expensive, really blocking it out from supports.
I forgot Golden
So
was even in
the
the
cost
game.
change actually helps a lot. We had also, we changed this from the alt trigger to an active trigger, which gives you a lot more control over it. So we weren't sure exactly how powerful that would be. A Bracer of the Abyss, an item that has had a hard time finding a home. So just getting some more buffs to it, increased intelligence, increased max stacks, so you can get more basic attack damage, and increase the buff duration, so it's easier to get those stacks up.
Yeah.
Yogis, increased mana
Fuck
and
name
health
that.
regen. This is continuing to be
Yogis.
like, we know it's not the most exciting item, but theoretically a bunch of regen is really strong. So this might be a rework candidate in the future. Maybe not, but for now we just keep pushing it. Let's see if we can find a place where it's really good. Golden Blade is getting a shift to increase the
off,
base
hurry, I
damage
wanna
on
play
the proc
Smite
and
too,
slightly decrease the protection. So it's a pretty positive shift.
Yeah.
Make it much more useful to rush early game and still have some late game scaling. So we didn't really like how Smite 1's Golden Blade was kind of like ditch it after a while.
Yeah.
But we wanted this to still have that meaningful
I see
impact you can
Typhon's
have on
thing in
solo and
there.
jungle if you buy it. If you rush it. Gladiator Shield, pretty big shift here
Added
from
40 inch.
overall
Oh my
change in its stats.
God.
It's no longer going to provide strength, and instead just going to be
40 inch.
protections and CDR item.
Here
but that
comes
protection
Anubis.
is going to
Yeah.
feed into its passive, right, and give you more damage anyway.
Yeah, that's more like Smite 1, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Soul Gem, buff in cost and passive scaling. Typhon's getting a little bit of a rework here now. It's actually
Spoilers.
going to be an int and lifesteal item now. Whoa. No longer just lifesteal with nothing else. It's now
And mages
Added
really
300
needed a good
mana to
lifesteal
enemies.
option
Yeah.
to fit in their build. So I think that this should be really good for the mages out there.
yes.
Full
Anubis
Sword
player.
Spear buff.
We don't say
Holy
mages
fuck, I've
anymore,
been
do we?
building
For-
that.
for the mids out there.
Yeah,
For the mids.
2,400.
Gee, that's
it's
cheap
okay
as
to
shit.
be
I'll be building that all the time now.
conversationally.
It's like the same price as
Conversationally, I can say
Heartseeker.
Dude, they
Genji's
just
Guard
took
also
350
released,
off of it.
stat shift in that
That's
it's
kinda
going to
nuts.
now have mana and mana regen
That's
in addition
250.
to its other stats, and an Oathsworn Spear cost
No.
reduction.
250 would be 2,500.
So
Nice. Lot of
that's
good
it for
stuff.
items.
Sweet.
A lot of items.
Come on, Rexy.
A lot of it driven
No.
by the feedback.
Come
and
on.
data.
I was just testing you.
Thank you, ambassadors and community at large.
Definitely.
But now we got gods, and we have two new gods, which I'm really excited for. One of my favorites of all time coming
Two
in
new
here.
gods,
so let's
motherfucker.
let's
Those
move
are
over.
new.
I wonder if I'm like,
Oh,
if,
sorry, you
this
meant the-
conquest match is going
I
to end.
apologize,
The
Dan.
unfortunate thing about this is just doing the debug and changing bots general.
You switched to us now, just in case, because we operate in dev for this. Because like I said, we're being open with
want
y'all.
that Bologna
And we
sword.
operate in dev, which has the one notable downside of there being super spoilery stuff in
Yeah,
there.
so I think we're actually in PTS.
We're in PTS.
Yes,
Oh, we are?
because we're in.
I lied to y'all.
Yeah, normally we're in dev, but the dev build today was a little broken, so we're in PTS.
Yeah, and so I have to do things a little bit slower using this debug HUD.
But two gods we're looking forward to. So Yemoja and Baron,
Yeah.
I think y'all know already because we've all the teasers. We got to bring back the fun water teaser. Tweeted some brew jokes earlier. Super
stream was
excited.
so fun.
That stream
I don't
was
like either of
super
those
fun. We
gods.
thought
Back in
about
the
running
day.
it back.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Give some Baron
dude,
some
we
love.
put way too much
fucking
effort
hate
in running
Baron.
that stream back in the day. Like I
Why?
think Isaiah was up for
I don't
24
like
hours
Baron,
straight,
and
like
I very much hate
guarding a
Yemoja.
glass
She's
of
one of my least
water.
played characters.
And I think Pecky's was like also running the stream, and he
Yeah.
was like he was like playing RuneScape or something the whole time. Like I don't remember. Like
It's so relatable.
Yeah, good old times. But that was fun.
Yeah, the dev build isn't really broken. It's just constantly being changed and updated. Right?
I'm not trying to over exaggerate. Just it wasn't good to show today.
Okay, chat's calling us out for having a broken dev build, which is just an understanding that.
That's right, because
welcome to game development.
A working live build in a matter of minutes. Well, not exactly. Whenever
doing the quick Baron kind of ability demo.
Are we like? Are you
Closing
ready?
Pornhub.
Dude, I'm showing it already.
Yeah.
I'll run it back. We hadn't switched over yet. I don't think. Hit us
Oh.
with that ability demo.
Isn't that TV is what they have on live too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just hadn't switched over to it yet.
Oh, his snake hits
Yeah.
minions?
We're good now.
Man,
When we
it's so
came in, you were
different.
ulting, and I was awestruck.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't knock back minions.
Oh, he looks so pretty in this game.
So yeah, I think that
Dude,
by
his
and large,
fucking
they should
Waluigi legs are going
resemble the
everywhere.
Baron that you know and love, but just
Dude,
better.
if you go
Right?
like in a
So-
circle, it's gonna go
I
crazy.
love the effects
Yeah.
on this version of Baron. By
Not
the way,
only that, but you know that I've been sneaking through dev, trying out new stuff, and I'm not going to talk about. I'm gonna let the experts talk about it. But the changes to Baron
No,
are
keep
incredibly
Thor out?
fun.
Who the
and I am
fuck
so
thought-
excited.
who-
I'm
what
excited
kind of
we can
opinion
play
is
them
that?
live today.
he's
So,
one of my
Look at
most
the
played
hitbox on the
characters,
snake.
same,
and he's also one of the most popular characters.
I saw
Can he
a
make
lot
it
of
so his
people
cooldowns
saying,
are lower, please?
Oh, all 3 of Baron fans will be excited, and I'm just like, what world are you living in? Baron has
Oh, look
been
at
one
the
of the
hitbox
most
on the snake
popular,
when he
like
throws it
of
next
the
time.
like new generation Smite gods, like season 5 and beyond.
Yeah.
He's probably the single most popular one.
my brother
and-
has
of
been
the
looking
last
really that
forward to this.
popular?
I was like, listen, man,
Dude,
Baron
Baron's
is
sick.
on the way. When the tweet went live, and he was like,
Cool to
thank
love
you.
him.
And he's got he's viable
How is
in
he
2
at
lanes in
-1
Conquest.
kills?
and-
Yeah, so let's talk about some of his new
Sorry, go for
features.
it.
That's going to include that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry,
his new features are great.
Baron's Brew is now a 1 stack instead of having multiple charges, but it's more potent healing and regeneration. And when it's consumed, you can, as we're being cheeky here, share the last drop with enemies, but you're getting an active attack that throws the bottle at them, dealing a area effect explosion and applying hysteria. And one of the coolest things about this is that your allies can really help the Baron player by stacking up a lot of hysteria really fast on the target.
so cool.
Which is cool because normally a Baron has to do that on his own.
Yes.
Yeah.
So hysteria,
Alrighty.
we're gonna do a shift here, as Alex mentioned, towards making him fit better in roles. He's no longer gonna do a lot of bonus damage on hysteria. That's just going to be more balanced across the kit as a whole.
Yeah.
And hysteria is going to do, it's going to cause targets at max hysteria to deal less damage, and it's going to turn on some of those bonus effects.
Cool bonus.
So this shift better supports his playstyle, letting him actually be high scaling for a mage mid playstyle.
Yeah.
Even though, as we know in Smite 1, he was generally a better bruiser tank solo or support than he was a mid laner. But we want to try to make sure that he's good at both in Smite 2.
He can do it.
So some of the new things other way across his kit is new protection scaling on Vivid Gaze's debuff. So if you build full tank, your Vivid Gaze power and attack speed reduction debuff is going to be more intense.
Yeah.
So you can really be like a debuffing tank Baron. Consigned Spirits now has cooldown rate scaring. As you buy more cooldown rate, the missing health is going to be more potent, so his heal gets better off of how much CDR you build.
What the
which is
fuck?
kind of neat.
Yeah.
Something we would never have been able to do in Smite 1. Like that would take us, like a month to build out the tech to
You
do
have
that.
to
in Smite
rework
1.
the system and
So Wrap It Up has had a bit more rework. So now when Wrap It Up hits a god above the hysteria threshold, the snake will explode 1.75 seconds later, immediately
that's
dealing
cool.
damage and mesmerizing enemies.
That is
so
pretty cool,
it had
actually.
kind of a difficult to understand and visualize kind of chain mechanic with timers and individual stuff in Smite 1. So this is a very similar effect, but with a little bit better clarity.
Yeah.
And mostly it's a clarity adjustment.
Yes.
So you'll really be able to tell more clearly, watch out when this detonates, you're going to get hit. If you don't, get out of the way. And Life of the Party now has protection scaling on dealing damage. So like full tank Baron will now be able to have stronger coffin hits and stronger
that.
debuffs. And potentially if you're full tank, you're probably building some CDR too, stronger healing. And Baron
looks
by
great.
default is just going to have better damage and scaling in the kit. 'cause
My
you have
favorite
built
character.
hysteria. So makes him a
They
better
put 2
mid
tanks in
and
the
makes him
patch.
a better support. Or
God damn it.
then we have the rest of the
Oh
full
my goodness.
gameplay text here, but nothing else really to call out specifically.
The
Anything you wanna see
hysteria
again?
bonus effects are the same from Smite 1. I thought we changed some of those, or are they?
I think they are the same,
Okay.
or I trust my team would have put them on the patch notes. But
Probably, yes. It's okay. Sorry, we don't have to go through it all. If you're
Show
mega
us the
Baron
ult!
main, please take a look. But yeah,
take a look at some of his other features here too. So
Devinside is
one
just
thing to
reading
note
patch notes
is
live. Motherfucker, have you not been
hysteria
listening
meter
the whole
building up below
time?
the god's health. Oh, we went away
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
that.
We're explaining everything.
Yeah, so there's a meter underneath the god's health bar that only Baron sees that lets you build up hysteria. You can see it turns purple when they're hysterical,
Hysterical?
and then gold when they're at max.
And the little dancing skull.
They want to see the jump.
Look how far his hat
Whoa,
goes.
what happened to the...
Is that his in-combat jump? And there's
Oh, there we
that.
go. Good.
You know,
I know this is the one. This
that's
is
the one
what they
people wanna
want to
see.
see.
they wanted
Yep.
to spin.
This is what they
Still
want
there.
to see. Yes,
Yeah.
it does look good.
It's. I guess they're not getting in-game sound. I don't know if production can fix that while we're playing, but if not, sorry. You can log in and listen.
I
to
did
it.
test
Dude, that
it.
on
where
her
I
is
don't-
broke.
The game is set to have sound, but I'm
He's
not.
got
reading
18
it,
gold
so I'm
to
not
his
sure
name.
too, Sorry.
It's not even
Okay.
gaining.
All right. But it seems like it might be a computer issue, so we're sorry. But we will try and get that fixed for the next stream.
Yeah, we couldn't give it all to you right now. We wanted some mystery for y'all to embrace.
Of course, Baron's audio design is super fun though. So there's the detonating warm-up
That's
area.
cool.
on the
Like,
stake.
like constricts.
It's a
I keep
lot.
forgetting I don't have cooldown.
Is it exploding
It's
not
a lot
remove the
easier
hysteria,
to
though?
read what's going on with the
No.
2 in combat than it is in Smite 1.
Yeah.
The other
Dude,
thing
that
chat's
pulls
asking
so
for, I don't know if because you
So what?
changed character, I don't know if Baron's
Pulls
Brew
so
is in the
quick?
shop, but would it be possible to show like what it looks like
He's
it's
not
real
running
time?
Oh
against
yeah,
it.
I did switch
Yeah,
class
it's-
cheat though. So
Oh, it's there.
it's there.
Hey, look.
Hey, how intuitive.
Well, that was a lot of
So we
HP
get
regen
to-
on it.
Drink it, and now you see the icon changed, and now you can
Throw
throw
it.
I don't like how he auto.
That's so great.
Kind of neat.
Yeah, maybe it's
Yeah.
a bug.
It's more Baron per your Baron.
Yeah, and then even though you throw it, it refills when you go back to base.
Yeah.
Yeah, the AoE
So
meta is
he's
kind
had
of
some
crazy. in the
ability
team fight.
icons adjusted, card art adjusted, full card art is in the game.
Just walk up with Baron, just slap a 3 in there, and just mez everyone on fire.
I think that's it.
Article effects
I think they
update
have to be
looks really
maxed-
nice.
I especially
Syria,
love like
no?
the heal, the
think
two,
so. Or plus
the
50%.
healing,
Right, it's
Yeah,
purple.
like that little
I
think
swirl.
purple, yeah.
Like it just looks really nice. And I think like for people that have been here since
I do
the
like
start
that
of
for the
Smite 2,
passive, though. It's
I think
much
you can
easier to
also see
see
with
with
this
Hysteria.
most recent set of gods, especially like how we're pushing the FX to still feel more like they still feel Smite 2y, but they're a lot more
Stop
readable
2E.
than some of the early effects that we were doing. You know, so I think we've kind of found the right space. I think for making effects feel awesome, and the team's killing it, and also making it really readable.
A few more things people noticed is that the AO3 does deal damage to minions now on pass through. It's a relatively small amount, but it does do damage.
Yeah.
One thing I also wanted to call out is that we saw a lot of feedback about Baron in discussion, and people saying that if there was a god to not change at all, this was the god, right? People didn't want kit changes
He's
on
perfect.
this, so we didn't change him too heavily. You know, a lot of the changes we talked through were pretty exciting.
So it doesn't
They're very
root anymore.
stat scaling, roll
does.
flexing
Does
stuff.
it?
We didn't really change any ability really heavily. That was very intentional because people were being so positive about this kit and didn't want it changed. I also want to mention though that every god coming forward still will have like new features on on the god, and that is something we're working into. Even at the accelerated pace, all of those gods are still going to have new
Did they
features
just
added
take
to
the
kit.
one
Oh, and
icon
another
from
thing worth
Smite
mentioning,
1?
even though we're moving at a faster
think
pace than the
so.
gods, because the ambassadors asked me,
Everything
that's
else
the only
looks
reason why I'm
sick
bringing it
and
up.
Yeah.
We will still be doing the ascension passes for all the gods as well at the time
Yeah.
they release. Even
And
though
we can show Baron and Yemoja's ascension pass after we demonstrate.
I hope they changed Yemoja a lot.
But overall, beautiful. I love the colors. I love this god. I am so excited to play this later today. So thank you. And now we're on to Yemoja.
Yeah, so the next god is Yemoja. Production, if you want to keep it on this screen while I switch in game, but we can just talk about some of the new features on Yemoja.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Yemoja is a interesting character, right? A
The heck is
challenging
Omni?
character,
For sure.
very high
Omni
skill
heal?
ceiling.
Oh,
She is a true backline
cringe.
support, though, which is one thing we've wanted, right? We don't have most of the Guardians supports in Smite 2 are very aggressive,
Very front live dive heavy.
And part of the reason why is that like a lot of the very early gods we prioritize for Smite 2
What?
are the most played
There is
gods
no way.
in Smite 1.
Yeah.
Right?
What?
Like a lot of people don't know this, but Nuwa is actually the most played god in Smite 1.
one.
She is more popular than Neith over the last 90 days. So that's one of the reasons why we prioritized her for the last update. And a lot of the most popular guardians tended to be some of the more aggressive ones. But that didn't do a good job of having a full diversity of roles, which is why I'm really glad that we have Yemoja in. And
course.
as I teased earlier, you know, one of the gods on our push here is, you know, Kepri, who
The
obviously
Hugbug.
supplies that similar kind of like more defensive true guardian kind of thing.
Yeah. Also, wonderful skill expression with that ult. Just a lot of fun playable mechanics that we get to have brought in. So.
Yeah, sorry. Anyway, back to Yemoja. Sorry, I'm not trying to
All right,
distract
so
us.
some
I
new
apologize.
features on Yemoja. All of Yemoja's water-based attacks and abilities can hit allied gods to provide them with healing buff, Omi healing. All of her attacks and abilities.
All of them.
All
I
of
hope
them.
to change.
Hitting
her
an ally with
abilities a bit.
Moonstrike replaces Omi healing with a new buff providing basic attack damage and attack speed.
Ooh.
And allies inside of River's Rebuke gain
Things more
both
annoying than
buff
chasing a
effects. So she's
Yemoja.
got a lot more buffing
Yeah.
built into the kit, right? Using River's Rebuke provides half of missing Omi immediately. So in Smite 1, this was a faster regeneration, but now you just get it up front.
Yep.
Yeah.
During the regeneration, duration of this buff is decreased based on the amount instantly restored. Oh, it's got both. Excuse me. You get half of it immediately, and you still have a regeneration buff. But depending on how much you restore, you'll get a weaker regeneration buff. This kit has a lot going on to it.
She has a very
as
complex
well.
kit.
So let's look at a couple
No.
things. Right, the bubble. I think the targeters
that is
and the
so
visual
cool.
effects
Yeah, they
are a
look good.
really big upgrade here. Like the liquid.
The water.
Yeah, look at how
on.
splashy it
Oh,
looks.
dude, those little like particles
because
that come
everyone
off of the center light strike.
They shouldn't change them,
Like,
but we're gonna
oh my
keep
God,
Yemoja
that's
the
so good.
fucking same.
Yeah.
Those are nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love how bouncy the water
I'll need to
orb
make
is.
allies. The targeter clarity on this I really love.
Oh, that's nice.
that's
Yeah.
nice.
I mean, we
Yeah.
have a lot of similar stuff in Smite 1, but this is a little bit more intense, which is really nice.
Definitely a
Now
lot
my
cleaner.
teammates in arena will know even better when they're going to troll me and keep me from getting back to enemies.
Yeah, this ability is crazy, right?
I feel like maybe there should be some different, an easier way to
See,
tell
I
what
need to
direction
spawn
to launch
allies
people.
to do the 2, but it's 2 is looking nice. All right, then we have
The 2 looks more like a wave than in Smite 1, which is nice.
So they didn't change anything. Why'd they even say that about
the
Baron?
ultimate.
Oh my god,
that's
that's
the
so
nice.
water
amazing.
looks
Yeah, the
real
water
nice.
looks really
Oh,
good. Holy
man,
shit.
the water effects are gorgeous.
Oh my god, the fluid when it goes up, that
Semi-permeable
looks
wall,
really
which is always
nice.
some crazy fun tech to work
Wow.
on.
Yeah.
I mean, by that I mean challenging to work on.
And you know, I don't want to overpromise anything, but for those of you that have played a lot of Smite 1,
I love
know
the water.
that
Holy
Yemoja's
shit.
mana bar just somehow
That looks
manages
so
to
much better
screw
than
up
Smite
your
1.
mana bars for like several games following, where like on the on your teammates, it's like for some reason everybody has Yemoja mana for this game.
That's weird.
So far we haven't been having that issue in Smite 2 because things are built better. So hopefully we don't see that in live when we put
Yeah.
this out. But I'm just it's another nice benefit of we have this God in Smite 2 now. And it
Yeah.
doesn't have the same
Having built it fresh from the ground up with the knowledge of 10 years of work. So
Right, so we're working fast on a lot of gods in the background, but these are the 2 that we have for this update.
Oh, can you when you put the ring down? Can we just look at both sides of it too? Just
This
yeah,
part?
yeah. Just so I think
it blows bubbles.
I think it looks more visibly different.
Oh
like, you
yeah,
can
I like
see
that.
what side
Okay,
you're on a
that's
little
literally what
better than
I said that they. I wish they
And
do.
There's also like
And they did
the
it. That's
ground
sick.
targeter. I think
Wow.
also is a little bit more visible than in Smite 1.
Bubbles.
So
Yeah, it shows you which side you should funnel into and which side you will be shot out of.
yeah,
Okay, I like that.
our team in general, killing it. They're amazing.
Yeah.
But just really great work on
The
it.
clarity. And as always, looking forward to the future of skins for this god, because Yemoja's ult has always been really, really entertaining
I want a
to
Yemoja
see
ult with
take
just
different
cum.
forms.
Does still stun towers, yes.
Make it
There
a
you go.
skin.
What?
Super
Make it a
beautiful
skin.
work, and as always, big ups to the team for getting
Why
all the
people
tech
ask me
for-
we're
this is a
duelists? How the
relatively
fuck would I know?
complex character
Yes,
in
yes.
comparison, like different mana bar, the healing mechanics. So props to them for bringing Yemoja in and providing some more variety in the support role.
All right.
Yeah, inspiring to watch.
I mean, they didn't
Alright, well,
change
cool.
fuck
So
all
those are
except for the
two new
visuals.
gods that you can look forward to. Literally today. I keep having to remember to say that. It's
Fenrir
amazing
buff.
updating, I'm going to be playing Baron all night tonight. Anyway, we're on to balance now.
All right, I'm going to go through these
Oh,
relatively
Fenrir,
quickly.
no.
Let's do the items. If you
Damn.
just talk over me or whatever as we go, but I'll keep
for it.
going.
Go
So
for
Hecate nerf on the ultimate cooldown. This is a game-changing team fight
It
alternate
is.
cooldown. Like you can
Fuck's that
deny
guy
all
all
of
about?
Phoenix
Yeah, Rexsi's
defenses,
pretty
whole fire
cool.
giant kills with his ultimate.
Hey.
So
Yeah.
it's going to get a longer cooldown in an early game and come scale back to the same in the late game. So you'll have to keep that zoning that Hecate out, but she won't be able to just deny you the whole game.
Yeah.
Fenrir, we've just been seeing consistently overperform. I will say, before I get into all these characters, we did really try to focus in on what are the gods that are overperforming right now in the data and the feedback and really hit them hard, and who's underperforming and really bring them up hard. Like Alex mentioned, we really want to see some shifts in what's popular and what's being played right now. So
diversity per game.
Yeah, we have 25 gods. We want to see all 25 gods being played.
And
right?
you know, if any of these are not enough or too much, we're gonna make changes more immediately. So Fenrir nerf.
Please buff
Fixed an
Thanatos
issue
1.
was providing more life steal as intended. I don't know exactly how much that is, so that
No, I
could be
hope
really
they
big.
don't.
A big nerf.
Fuck
and also
you.
just a pretty solid brutalized damage nerf.
Someone else agrees
and
with me.
Yeah,
decrease nerf when you
Oh, I
max.
wonder why.
Yes.
Brutalized one-shots were just...
They fixed Thanatos stuff.
Yeah, and this
Brutal.
these numbers are multiplied
Well,
by
someone with
4
high
for
resist
the
told me.
hit, so it's relatively big nerfs.
Yeah.
Nuwa
I've
still
only
was
fucking told them
super
50
highly
times.
performing, so we are going to be decreasing the penetration she gets from the strength of Earth, which is very powerful stat, and decreasing the minion explosion damage even further, so it's going to be a
I need
little
a
bit less
nerf.
scaling than the projectile.
Fair and valid.
Definitely need an int
Amaterasu
scaling
was
nerf.
specifically doing very well with buying tons of int and
Yes.
making those buffs insane.
I think
Oh,
she
box
was the
nerf, thank
most
God.
broken character in the last patch when she built int.
The int bruiser Amaterasu might have been the highest winningest god in the whole patch. That's correct.
Chad is calling you a traitor for nerfing Amma, by the way. So
Just doing my job. Just doing my job.
Fair.
Can't play favorites when
Yeah.
you're working on the balance team. Although the community has always felt that we do play favorites.
yeah, we really don't.
Atlas is
Jingwei,
not
Persistent Gust, decrease the base damage from this one. I saw some discussion about this one. So Jingwei is really strong, and we gave a lot of her strength in her new explosive bolts. So people expect us to nerf explosive bolts, but Jingwei is really a basic attack character, and we like her strength lying there. Persistent Gust, though, is actually a lot of damage, and we made it a lot more generous to hit in Smite 2. Where minions who walk into it late will still get the full damage. So pretty big nerfs here to Persistent Gust. Might she need more? Maybe. She's still been very good, but we're on it. Bacchus, additional damage
Thank
scaling
God.
nerfs from protections. We like the idea
Get
of
you to
doing
30,
a
thank
little
God. His
bit
mitigations
rarely
were
some bonus
absurd.
damage from protections. We can clearly see now why it's risky.
Yes.
'Cause when it's too
It was
high,
so
you were
tanky.
just tanky and killing everybody.
Dude, those bonks were
Yeah.
a lot of bonks.
Yeah, so this is
That's
another
just
big
standard.
nerf, and then
He's still
we're
tanky.
also just seeing an additional nerf in the Belch of the Gods damage per tick, just to he's like
Wait, that's a
top
bug,
clear,
Wumbo?
top her 1v1 potential tank. So just bringing that down.
Oh
So
my
now we're
God.
moving on to buffs.
What?
So big
20
buff for
flat
on
pin?
her, reverting his enfeeble rules back to Smite 1. So you now get the full
Nice.
protection shred on a single hit.
Oh
That's
my
a-
God! One auto?
That's gonna
One
be,
auto
that's gonna
gives
be hard.
20 flat pin.
Below
Holy
buff, you got
shit.
increased base attack speed.
Good luck
Bro, if
boxing.
you-
Imagine
Yeah.
duel.
Closer to
Oh.
what is in Smite 1. And we're also going to do increased Scourge damage and decreased cooldown. So really kind of giving her... this is a general buff, but in a way that kind of pushes her a little bit more towards basic attack warrior. She's always been very flexible. She could be built
Well, thank you,
either
Wumbo.
way.
I'll do a video on that.
But there was a while where carry Bologna was a thing and stuff like that. And if you want to build this way in or hybridize into that a little bit more in the solo lane, we're doing this here.
And now that Kins is better.
Yeah, right?
We are back, baby.
Athena, one of the lowest performing tanks in the game. So
I think she was the lowest win rate god.
Yeah,
last
she
time.
Yeah,
sucked.
maybe in the whole game. So
Yeah,
some
which is-
pretty big
I feel like she
increase
did
the
pretty good.
protection scaling's buff on preemptive strike. So this is going to be
Oh,
much
that-
more
that
effective.
holds for sure.
And we also shield wall will now also slow enemies on either hit. The initial or the detonate.
Seems good.
Yeah. And we are also bringing back the movement speed to the Defender of Olympus target. This
Oh, that's good.
So
Yeah.
this was in
very
Smite 1, something like this was in Smite 1. So both of those things
Oh,
coming back,
Anubis
she's not
buffs.
sacrificing anything,
Oh,
just
shit.
giving it all.
Anubis
to
buff
our
and
favorite
Typhon
gods.
buff?
Why?
Oh.
What?
We heard
Anubis-
a lot of feedback that Anubis was just
It's just his
not good
passive.
and was not seeing much play, and he was being
Holy
reflected in the
fuck.
data. He could still pub stomp no matter what. Goobus is Goobus, but
Look at his
we're gonna
one.
actually see if we can get
What?
max
Only
rate.
15% slow?
So
What?
He's gonna be schmoving.
the passive
15.
it's a little bit
He's gonna be
challenging
fucking
to
full
explain, but I'll
sprints.
just give you the short of it, which is now he gets magical protections
Look at his
at
ult.
all the
Look at his
times. He
ult.
doesn't have to gain any stacks.
Oh
He just gets
my
a flat
God,
amount of protections and
22%
life steal
scaling.
even when he's at full health.
Holy
And
fuck.
effectively what we're doing now is making that effect ramp up
What?
as he loses
I
health.
just
So
flipped
you
him on his
start with,
ass like a
protections
complete
and life steal,
180.
and as you lose health, you're going to gain protections and lifesteal. So you're going to start at 6%
So you just
lifesteal
start
and
with
go up
10
to 24.
Physical and magical
And
protection.
then this is
on our neighbors.
a base plus per level calculation for. Wait, is it per level? Why did I write it like this?
Yeah.
You're
get
going to
that clear.
start with something like 10 to 30 protections just all the time, and as you lose health, you're going to go up to
Jesus.
20 to 60 protections.
Do we think that
60
like maybe
protections.
this helps him flex
So
more
this
into
is 10 to
support
20,
too,
60.
or
Yeah, it's a per level. So at level 1,
Yeah,
you'll
maybe
go
it'll
from
help
10,
with
and that'll
support.
get
Maybe.
doubled as you lose stacks. And at level 20, you'll start at 30.
That
and
is
then it goes
too
up to
much.
60.
because he's got the mummify, the circle slows you, like maybe support. Maybe.
I don't know if I'd say
Really know
support,
Thanos
but
feels?
maybe like
I will
Kill
let you know
solo
for
bruiser,
sure.
I'm
so
gonna
much
run
more
him
than
solo.
80s
All
or
right.
Baron have been playing
yeah,
solo.
that's
I'm gonna
probably
run
a
him
better
solo.
call.
Kill secure
Yeah, he definitely
support.
seems
This is why I'm not a high level player.
He maybe needs a little more
though
CC
I've played
before he can
thousands
play
of hours.
support. But yeah, maybe.
with
So
full.
Plague of Locusts decreases self slow.
Why-
I saw a
at this
lot
point,
of
why
people
even have the
misinterpreting
self-slow?
this, thinking he was slower in Smite 1 than he was in Smite 2, slower in Smite 2 than Smite 1. That's not true. It was just worded differently. But either way, we're making him faster because that's just sweet.
That's
I know, scared
So
of
now
you,
by
then
rank
just
5, he will be
running after
barely
you.
slowed at
He'll
all.
be zooming.
yeah. Shot down
Just
the idea of a 200% movement.
And then
speed
just
buff.
bonus damage on grasping
I guess as
hands
long as they
and
just nerf
ultimate.
the
These
damage
remotes
a
is a
bit.
little underwhelming.
Because him standing in place
Death
was
Gaze,
just
it's-
ridiculous.
if
Like,
there's
imagine.
anything that's supposed to kill fast.
Imagine he can move during the ult.
Yeah.
It was not melting
Just
enough.
chase you down.
Yeah.
Zeus. This is a really
Why don't we see a
interesting
fucking
buff to
Thanatos
Zeus
buff?
here.
Zeus
that's gonna
jungle?
help him clear the wave a lot more because that's the main complaint we hear about is that his
What?
his lane clear is not good enough. He can't play mid lane
Insta 3. Why does it sound like
without
fucking Dr.
better lane
Doofenshmirtz?
clear. So now
Carry the flag!
minions in jungle camps will skip right to 3 full charges when they take any damage from Zeus that applies charges. So you can chain lightning, detonate, and you'll just triple hit the whole wave. So like most other
good.
mids can clear the whole wave into abilities. So can Zeus now. You can save that 2 for
buffed
other, or you can
Morgan?
use the 2 and then the 3 combo. Either way, it's like a really cool change, and it's gonna make him a lot better.
It was live now?
in
Yeah, I don't want
mid,
to. I want to
and
finish these
because
patch notes
we
first for the video.
generally don't like the shield ability and don't want to revert to that. And I know, like we've said, we're gonna try to avoid any further reworks, but like this one.
Yeah,
When Zeus's shield is removed, he has so much more potential to
Yes.
have buffs in a lot of cool
Yes.
ways that actually let him be a flex ADC, let him actually be a better mage.
haven't tried
and
Zeus yet,
give him,
actually, since this changes.
just counterplay, 'cause his shield,
So hard to balance.
unmissable shield chain
Yes.
lightning combo is just
Jesus Christ!
and
Start the game.
let us cook a little bit on this. I think this is a really cool buff, and
My
let's see where we go. Right?
dude.
Like we're always willing to listen to the community, but I
they
think
got rid
that
of
for
ranked.
the long-term health of the game, it is much healthier if we don't
Yeah.
bring back shield 8-mile range.
Zeus down.
Yeah.
there is still people in chat saying just bring back shield and
Well,
we're trying to listen as much as we can. But
Make this version viable in the jungle.
let us try this once,
It's so
please, community.
bad.
Let us try this one.
well, we're gonna try. This
Oh,
one's going out
noise.
today. There's no change.
scaring me.
viable in the jungle.
Screw
That'd be
Zeus,
awesome.
man.
But yeah, it could also make him better in
Why?
jungle too. Yeah.
You'll understand when you watch
And then
the
finally,
game.
Morrigan had also really poor stats, and we're mostly focusing around her into scaling, making her able to get to the proper level of burst she needs to. So
Yeah, and I think like figuring out exactly the right scalings for gods has
And the
been
leaderboard's
one
broken.
of the challenges of our new system, right? Because we're still finding the right levels for people. So, I think
And I would say that as far as we move into our live balance, we'll expect to see a lot more changes in this type of stuff,
Yeah.
right? Scaling, tuning, potentially any gods that we've been seeing potentially tanks with too strong early base damage or DPS gods with too strong like one-shot potential in the late game. We're going to be looking around to clean some of those up. Morrigan wasn't really one-shotting anybody, and she kind of needs to sometimes, so she's getting a little bit more here. But that's it for the general god balance sections.
Good stuff. And next we have general gameplay, so that's kind of going over some of the.
Let's.
because we're on
look
PTS,
at-
we don't need to go away because we can't spoil gods.
Yeah, I think it's safe actually.
Okay, hey, we're safe.
think
Look at
it's
this.
safe.
We were very concerned about spoiling a few things, and
Oh, look at the
Yeah,
Morgan.
productions
Morgan.
over there got
Oh,
their
look at
finger
the
on
new
the
card art
kill
on all
list.
of
so I guess
them.
we can show the card art here for.
We got new
Oh,
card
Ares
art.
looks
We-
fucking
this is
dope.
on the patch notes. Uh-oh.
No!
Someone kicked me out.
Who the
Maybe
fuck?
they skipped an update or something.
We're updating so fast.
It was probably
it's insane.
Zeus.
Yeah, they just just loud as fucking.
the live server on.
No, we were about to
Then
see it. I wanted to look at the card art.
Live and not to
Okay, well then we'll have to go back to dev and production have to go back
or
to
we
being
could
scared.
just go into live maybe. But
Is live out?
If live is live.
Oh, I have
said
to.
he was gonna
I have
turn
to
it on
I have to download it
at some
I have
point.
to download it
Oh
right
my-
now on this computer.
Dude,
You really gonna
watch
tease
the
us with
loading
that?
bar?
Yeah, so because we were on PTS.
Why
let's
does your
look at the patch
computer
notes
not have
then.
the
We'll go
live
back to look
game?
at the Ascension passes at the end and the God art.
But
And
yeah,
they
so
didn't just put the patch notes.
live is probably live because that just broke. So if
He's
anybody just
downloading
wants
the
to go
whole
play,
game.
our
Oh my
feelings are
God,
not
you
hurt.
don't even
Feel
have
free to
it
go
downloaded
play.
at all?
If you want to leave us on in the background to listen to us, you know, we'll
You
keep
think
talking
we're gonna
about everything.
sit here for
There's actually a lot of
45
really
minutes
interesting
while you
NPD stuff
download
that we
it?
have in here that I'm excited to talk about.
We have
But
some cool stuff in this last.
but
week.
yeah, if you guys just want to go play, like no hard feelings, like have fun with the game. Let us know what you think. So,
Yeah.
This is some important stuff here too. So, updated damage number animation and style.
Oh,
to
and the
be
lobby
more
match
like
stats,
Smite
yes.
1. We had kind of the bouncy numbers. That's what a lot of other games do right now. You know, there was some good chance to try that, but now we're going to get the more straight up and scattered.
Hey,
like we
how
did in
about
Smite
the
Familiar.
pause feature? Is,
what's it called?
Pause.
and it's a vote to
When someone
pause.
takes a fire giant's like, the enemy team.
Okay, I'm just gonna read through these. I don't feel like sitting through listening to them.
Yeah.
I want to see what it looks like in game before I end this video. So bug fixes, quality of life, body blocks are working again. Thank God. People would just walk through you all the time. Whereas lag and a frame behind. Permabug states. Minions clear more symmetrical. Thank God. Distance lines filler. Motion. Stop moving vortexes. Players appear back at their death location. Okay, that would probably fix that teleport bug. Fix issue with passive field marker and definitely revealing enemies. Finally. Fix issue with passive heartbeat sound. Yes. Fix issue you can press specific on controller during his ultimate jump support back. Oh. Well, there's 2 of them at least. And then it's just a bunch of bug fixes. Fix the permastun Fenrir bug. Okay, well that's pretty much all of it, chat. I'm gonna quickly, before we end this video, prepare your eardrums, I've been told.
Dude, it's bad.
Okay, get ready, boys. Prepare your eardrums. I'm scared. I'm scared. Card art, the in-game card art. Too loud.
Pocket and I don't want to play. That's fine. Since there's no ranked.
What?
I said Hawken and Dino.
Zeus here,
wanna play.
you know, King of Gods, Lord of Thunder, generally awesome immortal. Welcome to Smite 2. To get started, we're just gonna fight.
I don't really need to watch this. Wait, do you have to go through this?
No, just click quit game.
Oh shit, look at the new Ares art. That looks dope. What the fuck is with Thanatos? What's with his glossy ass face? That looks fucking terrible.
Oh.
Ooh, look at Mordred. Oh, Zeus looks sick too.
Oh, Baron's card art sick when he gets ranked 10.
You mean his Radiance thing?
Yeah, like his Radiant Border.
Oh, is it? Not loading for me yet.
What about Yemojas? Oh, Yemojas is just Barons. Okay.
Probably just glitched. Hades looks
Yeah,
pretty
it is.
decent. Thanatos is the worst one of all of them! Oh.
Oh, Yemojas is pretty cool too.
That gate's pretty decent. I mean, Yemoja's is the same as Smite 1.
Holy, the cannons on Yemoja.
Look at Hecate. Dude, Mordred looks awesome. Ares looks nice. They updated Bologna a bit. Ugh. I don't really like it. It looks like glossy. Oh, they updated Cuckoos. Okay, well that's it for patch notes. Thank you very much for watching YouTube. I will see you... Oh, need to. In the next video. Hope you enjoyed the patch. I'll be streaming it, of course, and all that stuff.